All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Stock Analysis Friday on this August 1st, 2025. Hope everybody's doing great. Hard to believe summer's almost over, right? One more month and that's it. All right, so purpose of Stock Analysis Friday is for me to look up stocks or ETFs for you. We don't do futures here. However, we do have a futures trading room on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so you may want to check that out. Also, too, we're starting a Discord channel, so that's going to be up and live within the next couple of weeks. And we have a brand new website that we're working on that should be live also in a couple of weeks. So a lot going on. All right, so purpose of this is for me to look up stocks for you. Perhaps your broker suggested something and you want to have a different take on it, second opinion. That's the purpose of Stock Analysis Friday, basically. And so without further ado, go ahead and start typing in your stocks. Type them in caps for me and let me know also if you're currently in the stock or you're thinking of a long or short position and you're kind of just interested in seeing if now is a good time. That way I can kind of tailor what I look at specifically for you. And you can just put those in the comments area and I will go down the list. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I got a few administrational things I've got to do here first, and then we'll go ahead and begin. Welcome. All right, so first thing to go over, of course, are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand, but you need to be aware of the risks, of course, and also to always trade with risk capital, money you can afford to risk in the markets, whether you're investing or trading for that matter. And then also when you take a trade or an investment, figure out what the possibility of the loss could be before you take the trade. That way you have an idea of properly calculating your trade size. And I've got a couple books on money management that can help you with that if you need it. And then finally, anything I suggest here, run it by your financial advisor or whoever manages your money. I don't know your personal situation, and they certainly do. And because the markets work in a realm of probabilities, we cannot guarantee any of our stock picks or basically predictions for that matter. All right, so here are a couple books that may interest you on money management. Great place to start, especially if you're a new trader. My new book, The Art of Trading, second edition, second from the left on this list, came out this fall. And that's probably the best book to start with because we cover everything in that book. And also, too, it's current. So we have all the latest market information in there. The next book that's really good, too, is Elliott Wave Techniques Simplified. This one was published by McGraw-Hill. My other books were published by Wiley, except for one of the money management books. But in any case, Elliott Wave Techniques Simplified is basically on the Elliott Wave, which is a form of technical analysis. All right, and then I have the Survival Guide for Traders. Basically, is a terrific reference for those running a trading business out of their home. So they're available. I put a link in the recording list below. So if you're watching the recording, you can click on the links below. And the same thing for our software. I created software many years ago, currently used, I think, in over like 85 countries now worldwide. We've got hedge funds using it, and it's called the Applied Reality Trading System, or ART. You'll see that on charts when we take a look at things. And then also OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI indicators are there as well. We got scanners because that's how you find the stocks and so forth, and also risk control software. Our software, just so you know, works on NinjaTrader, TradeStation, eSignal, MT4, and 5. And there you have it, okay? So that's it. All right, so let's keep going here, and also give us a like today. Take a minute and just do that right now. We would appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to come out here real quick and just quickly go over where the Dow Jones is right now. And I wanted to take a quick look at that before we jump in to actual stocks. And what's kind of interesting, obviously, we're seeing a little bit of a pullback here. The chart on the left is the daily chart. So whenever we look at stocks today, we're going to use the same format. So daily on the left, weekly on the right. And weekly is for long-term. Daily is usually used for swing trading, primary chart for swing trading, or intermediate term. Most of the magazines, most of the websites you look at, when you look at charts, are on the daily chart. So it's most popular. All right, so where are we with the markets right now? We're pulling back a little bit. You can simply draw a trend line down here. we had a little area of structure that I highlighted here with this gray box, and we pulled down, and it kind of is starting to reject it. It's too early to tell. Price bar hasn't closed. And if we close at the bottom today, then that's not necessarily a rejection, right? Then our next box of structure is down here in this area as well. And we have a couple fair value gaps sitting in these areas too. So I'm kind of thinking that it's very possible to go back down into the low 40s. We're already at 43.593, so maybe even a little lower than that. But in any case, we're kind of waiting to see. We should have one more pop to the upside. We did not quite break the high, all-time high, but we came very close. And if we broke it, it'd only be by a little bit. But in any case here, I think probably one more high on the market. Chart on the right, we've got some target zones here that we placed here for long-term bull market target zones based on Elliott wave and so forth. And we're in it. Okay, so the question is, how high in them are we going to go, right? I got a little short-term one here that we're looking at here. We're going to probably have to redraw that after this correction here is done. But in any case here, we're kind of thinking one more high, and then we got to kind of be careful because then we may be at a major reversal point. I don't recommend, and you can talk to your financial advisor about this, I don't recommend any long-term investments at this high marketplace here. I would wait for a correction before going in, but if you're dollar cost averaging in, that's fine too. But in any case, I think basically you want to be a trader here, take short-term swings with stops. So if the market reaches a top and begins to sell off, you get out before it gets too bad. How bad could it get? Well, the next market will be a bear market, major correction on the daily chart, of course, and the longer term charts, it will be a normal type of correction with more highs following in a few years, that type of thing. But I think we got to get through a correction at some point. So like I said, we're probably good for most of this year, and we're getting on into the year, right? So we got to pay attention to that. All right, let me see if I can bring up Bitcoin here. Let's take a look at that. Bitcoin, as I said before, hopefully many of you were able to buy into this area here where we recommended. All right, hopefully you could do that because this is a sell area up here. Now, if you're going to hold Bitcoin for your grandkids, you don't have to really worry about this. But if you're trading this and don't want to get stuck on the next downdraft that could last years, you may want to pay attention to our sell zone here. We've retraced back into a basically a fair value gap. And let me open this up on the left-hand chart. You can see this here, fair value gap here. All right, and an order block down in here. So not unusual. We're seeing a little rejection, which is good. We have one of our indicators called the PTF here is green. This indicator has a 75% accuracy rate, so I kind of listened to it, and it's indicating more highs. So after this pullback, we should get one more push upward. And that makes sense when we look at all the fib target zones that we've drawn here. So we're up here around 127, all the way to 127, 175, up to 160. So that's the zone for the target on the next push up. So it could go pretty high on the next push up. So maybe think about adding a little bit to a long position somewhere around in here. Not a bad idea. But in the next high, you kind of want to be careful and think about liquidating. We're seeing bearish divergence in our POWL indicator, which measures momentum here and here. Okay, so basically keep note of that. All right, now let's take a look at what you want to look at. I just want to cover those. And let me just go through the messages. Good morning, everybody. Yes, good morning. All right, let's start. I think, Ed, you're the first one up here. All right, DOCN. Ed, good to see you in the day trading room yesterday. Had a good time. Ended up actually pretty good yesterday when all was said and done. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, DOCN is new. All right, so it's heading down right now, okay? And if you're looking at this for a long trade, we have a red PTF here. I think we probably got more lows coming. So another leg down here at some point. So I think short term, another leg down when it bottoms, as long as that PTF remains green, as we can see on the weekly chart. Once we have a bottom in here and it takes off, it should be a new significant trend to the upside. But for right now, I kind of wait on the sidelines on that. Let's take a look at your next one, POWL. All right, and you are, let's see, 40%. I'm assuming up. I hope it looks like it's going up. Okay, so on this one here, and I would hold this one. This is one of these ones. If we look at the weekly chart on the far right, let's just do a few fibs here. So let's just go from here to here. We had a nice fib correction. Okay, so that met the requirement for that. We also had a red owl, because you have to have a red owl for wave 4, all right, on the weekly chart. And now we've got it green, so we're going into 5. So this is a 3, 4, and now we're going to use our fib extensions to see kind of where wave 5 should be here. All right, so we go up, down, and there's 5. There's the target for 5. So right in this target area here. So I'm thinking around 358 to 488. We're at 222. All right, not even a bad trade for most everyone, but that's a long-term trade. So you're going to have to hold that for a while. So let me just put that one down. I'll put this down as a possible buy, but I'm going to put long-term on this. And I think probably, you know, we no longer have any red here. It's all neutral on this chart. We've got some pyramids up. If you use the pyramids on the chart on the left, you're probably not going to make it to the target zone without being stopped out, because this is more swing trading on a lower time frame. Use the pyramid down here on the longer time frame for your stop. Okay, I'll put S for stop. All right, and then that should give you plenty of room for the market to breathe and go on its way up. So I'm liking that long term. I think you can hold that one. Looks really good. Let's take a look at EBS. All right, you're down 10%. Okay, and you're long on all these, as you say. All right, so let's see what's cooking on this one. All right, so yeah, it's coming down a little bit right now. Definitely taking out some equity here. And they do this, okay? Equity here and here and here. So the market is notorious for redistributing itself, meaning if basically, you know, everybody's long here, okay? Not everybody can be a winner, of course, unless you're able to handle the pullbacks, which means that you're in it for the long term. So short-term traders that are long, all right, are going to have stops at these pivot points or equity levels. And usually before a big run-up, they like institutions like to run those, and the market does too, to gain liquidity. That's just how it works. And then it moves back up. So it looks like this was a liquidity grab here. In terms of this, we got a green PTF here. All right. When you have a first breakout like we had here, okay, it's not unusual to come back down almost 100% to the fair value gap right here. If you've ever heard of a concept called ICT, basically they cover this type of movement in the market, where basically we come down to the original fair value gap, and this is the buy point, and then it goes up from there after it clears out equity and takes out the weak hands. So in the case like this here, I would stay with it. Have your stop below the low, below this equity level in case they bring it down here. And if you see rejection down here and a move back up, you can buy some more. Okay. All right. So that is EBS. All right. Al, how are you? All right. EL. Let's check out EL here. Whoops. Wrong button. All right. So EL. Give that a second to load here. All right. EL has not switched over. Here we go. Okay. All right. So EL is looking good from a longer term weekly standpoint. From the daily standpoint, Al, it's too late. Okay. So I don't know if you're doing this for long term or a swing trade, but the problem is we've had 4 pyramids in a row and it's extended. All right. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, but the problem is the more mature a trend is when you get in it, the more risky it is, okay, in terms of, a correction before it moves up. So, this could be in a long-term trend to the upside, no question about it. But I think if it was going to be me, I think I'd wait for the pullback a little bit. I think we're due for a pretty good one. And maybe just draw a fib in here someplace for a pullback into that range there. So that's kind of, I think, what I would wait to do. Doesn't mean it can't go a little bit higher. We have to redraw this fib. But I think basically you can get if you're patient here, the market's all about being patient. If you're patient, you can probably get a fill there. Let me see. We got a fair value gap here and here on this. Let me just see. That's on the weekly. Let's see what happens with that. We're in here. Then you have actually a little bit here with a little structure. Okay, so that price is 74, and that puts it smack pretty much into the fib retracement zone. So I would hold off. Also notice we've got a indecision bar forming today on the weekly chart. If that ends bearish, that may be a little bit of a pullback, but also too, we've had a little bit of consolidation here. So we may get some more movement up and take this equity out here before it sells off. So that is 103. We're at 90. You'd have to put your stop here, so your risk to reward wouldn't be that great. I would wait for the pullback, but that's me. Okay. SM, let's see what we got here. All right, long on this one. All right, well, the PTF on the shorter term time frame is red. So that should happen before the green PTF on the longer term time frame. So long term, it looks like we're going up. Short term, we're probably going down. And that low, basically, you take the lowest price in the red area, and that's the probability of it going lower than that. So that puts it at the bottom. So that's indicating that we may not have a bottom in this. All right. So I would just stay clear on that based on that indicator. All right, BKR, let's take a look here. All right, on a long here. Okay, so it has pulled back. I like that. All right, this is a fairly good size fair value gap, as you can see, which makes it always a little more interesting because you don't know how far down it's going to go into that. So the order blocks are down here. You have structure here. You have a little bit of structure here. Green PTF. So if you get rejection out of this and you get a close above here, you can go long. But I wouldn't do it before then because you may not in here, all right, before it starts moving up. If you see any type of like pin bar on high volume in here, then that probably is a good sign that the correction's over. Okay, I'd keep a close eye on this because I think there is an opportunity there, but it's right now we have to have some type of rejection out of this area. All right, and that's BKR. Thanks. All right. Al's back again here with GERN, and you're short. Okay. Take a look here. All right. So red PTF. I like shorting when the PTF's red. Okay. However, all right, it looks to me like after today, we may have a yellow PTF because on the close of that weekly chart, prices have gone below the lowest low in the red area. And we'll wait for the price bar to close before that changes. Okay. So that is yellow really now. Okay, so I think at this point I would not short this Doesn't mean it can't go a teeny bit more. Sure. Let's see if there's any more equity over here. You're probably going to take that equity out. Then you got equity down here. Boy, I'll tell you, this is like a penny stock, so it's kind of interesting. So you got a target at 99 cents, and then another target. Here, let's just use the weekly chart here. And another target down here is 97 cents actually, and another target down here at 73 cents. So maybe you know, that's it. I'm not going to recommend that for anybody because that's a kind of a risky play. But if you are short or considering short, yeah, you could stay there, or you could take another 20 cents out if that's your game. Okay. All right. CYH. But it's also sold off so much too. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's see here. All right. Short here, green PTF. You got a red here. And you got to pull off of a bottom. So this was a lot of rejection here on these price bars here, right? So we've got a red here, but that's only below this price here of 243. So I don't know if we're going to go below these bottoms because they may be bottoms. Okay. I kind of, at this point here, a better short would wait for it to fill the gap here, which would be the fair value gap over here, and see if the PTF's still red and then take the short. Okay. I would not take this. Okay. CHTR. All right. Okay, so we got 3 bars down. Chances of another bar now are diminishing. However, if you get a rebound, you should be okay. But you know, in a case like this, if you go short here, put your stop, you know, a bar or 2 back, because if you have a reversal, you could retrace, you know, quite a bit on this move up, at least into the 290s, 300 levels before more selling. So something like this, all right, is actually creating an opportunity with a bunch of fair value gaps. So usually the way I would work this, if I wanted to short it, okay, you're getting in late, okay, right now. So that's why I'm saying not just to go short. You've got definitely, you don't want to go long, and short is actually, there's no reason not to be short, but it would have been nice to be short earlier. I would wait for the pullback to a fair value gap and use basically a bear flag at that point. So if you get a pull up, draw a line here and then short it for the next leg down. It's going down another leg. There's no question about it. The question is, are you going to get in now and then have to suffer through a significant rebound before it goes back down? That's the question. You'd be better off waiting for the rebound, draw the bear flag in, and then short. But that's just my opinion. All right, let's keep going here. Edward's back. All right, CRSP. CRSP. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so definitely a pullback. So this is new. All right, well, you have not finished the pullback yet. I don't see any bars indicating yet a turnaround. So if you were long on this and your stops at the pyramid, that's where your stop would be. Okay. If they take that liquidity out, then you're going to be gone. I would hold off on this. I think this is a new one. I don't know if you're in it, but I think maybe meaning new is you're considering it. Okay. So in a case like this, I would wait. All right. Let's see if they take liquidity out here. This is also an order block. And then you see a spring up from there, then I would go long. So basically equity, order block here. You know, this would be a reason to put your stop not under the pyramid, but under the order block on this one. let it see if it takes it. And if you get a rejection and a reversal off that, then go long here. Okay. Let's take a look at your next one. Is it LI, I think? Let's see how this one looks here. Okay, so you're down 12% here. All right, so at this point, any stop at a reasonable place here would have been stopped out, okay? Now, if you're in it because the PTFs are indicating long, all right, then you're just gonna, basically, you're gonna have to wait for a turnaround. You took out equity here, all right, and you may get a turnaround here, okay? But at this particular point, let's just see a little bit of a block here. So I think basically on this one, Ed, I think if it was me and I wasn't already out, okay, I think I would put a stop under this area here, okay, and that would be it, okay. If it takes me out there, then I have to wait for the reversal and then get in again, okay. So I'm hoping this thing is going to reverse before, you know, right at this order block here, and we're right there right now. So you want to give your stop a little bit more room, maybe under this here, or use this pyramid here. That's right under the order block for that. But you know, that's it. Okay. You got to be careful on these, not to keep moving your stop, because before you'll know it, you'll move it and keep moving it and keep moving it, and then you'll be in trouble. So try to set a stop at this point, if you're not already out, based on a designated area that makes sense in the market. And if you get stopped out, you're out, okay? And you can always go back in if it reverses too. So just keep that in mind. All right, LAC. All right, down 8% on this one. All right, again, okay, you're right at here. Did they take this equity out? Let me see, that's a low of 2.47. And this has a low of 2. They did not take the equity out here. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Let me take a look at this. They'll probably take this equity out at this point. Okay, so, I mean, you're gonna have to put your stop down here if you want to try to stay in the whole thing. I would like you've gotten out a lot earlier than this, but so be it, because this is an area that should have stopped it on the way down. This area here, that's an order block, fair value gap. Now it's an inverted fair value gap. So now it will act as resistance. So we could come up here and then go back down as well. So I don't know where you got in. You're down about 8%. I would say if you get a rebound on this, move your stop up under it and try to get your 8% back at the very least. And if it keeps on going, then fine. The PTF area will be correct eventually. The question is, how much lower is it going to go? All right. Or you just put your stop at the very bottom of the whole move. Okay, that's the other thing to do. All right, let's keep going on here. It is back with SOUN. All right, so you're down 9% on this. All right, so we had a break here. We looked at this one a while ago. Break here. All right, let's see that gray area. Okay, so that was a structured area. We anticipated it going and then broke down. So the pyramid would have had you out here. Okay, we got a green PTF here. So long term at this particular point, you know, where's your stop going to be? Probably down in this area here. All right, for this particular move. So we may come down to, I don't know, around this order block here, right around $8.73. So another couple of points down. So I put your stop at the bottom there, and let's see if we get a turnaround, because according to the PTF, you should. All right, that is that UTHR. All right, so on this one, you're up 2%. Rebound off that structure here. Okay. 1, 2, 3 rejections. That's probably a good sign. And look at the rejection bar on the weekly chart. So I'm liking to see that. All right, now let's see. You've got a fair value, bearish fair value gap on the weekly chart right here. Okay, we need to get on top of that. Okay, that needs to be turned into an inverse. Couple schools of thought here. All right, we got the green PTF. All right, we have another fair value block under here. Not fair value gap, sorry, here. And then we have an order block under that. All these are possible places that this particular pullback could end here. Okay. I'm glad to see the rebound here. I'm glad to see a pen bar here. All right. However, it's got to get above this area here for me to be convinced that it will go ahead and make a new high. The thing is that a couple thoughts here. All right. Let me just do this. You basically have equity taken here rather. Okay. But you have equity here. You got to think in terms of where the most equity is going to be, where the most stops are. Okay. They're going to be here, right? Probably not here. All right. When I see that, there's a strong case that we're going to take that equity out. Okay. Now, if the bottom holds here and it takes off, hey, great. Okay. That could be a possibility, but you can't rule that out. That's my point. So to put a stop under here, right here, all right, would be assuming that this is a bottom. All right. If they take equity out here, then here's your next equity. Well, it's right, basically not too far from that. So I think you have to have your stop, you know, basically under this pyramid here. Okay. And if you see it falter and turn around again, don't be surprised. Okay. So it's that kind of thing. I personally would like, you know, if I was trading this, I don't know if I would go long quite here yet, because you also have a fair value gap here that's bearish too. So the first fair value, let's see the value of that there and there. So we're moving up into it. So we need to get above what, 297, and this is 315. If we get above this one, that's a good sign as well. Okay. So I'd hold it for now. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it sells off from here or gets above that. All right. And that is UTHR. All right. Let's take a look at BKCH. The best trades are when they take out that equity with vengeance, create a huge pin bar with lots of volume. That is pretty much as a slam dunk as you can get in the markets. All right, so let's see on this one here. You're up 45%. Awesome. Okay, so no green PTFs on this. We hit this little bit of area here. Let's see what we're thinking here. Okay. Order block here, fair value gap. We're seeing a little rejection there. All right, since you're up 45% here, if we go under this, I put your stop right at 49.91 on this. And if we take that out, then we may be going down into this area here, and even maybe lower. So that's where I put my stop. You can always go back in, but there, I think that's a heck of a bearish price bar also on the weekly with structure down here at 47. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. You know, you got to be careful a little bit in there. Okay. but hopefully this will reject and take off from here. But if it doesn't, I take the 45%. All right, let's keep going here. All right, let's take a look at POWL. All right, just put your stop on the pyramid here, okay? That's an order block right there. So you're getting rejection off there now. The long term target on this is 358 to 488 on the fibs, with the PTF target being way up here at 364.98. Okay, so if you're trading it to reach this target, put your stop under this pyramid at 160.86. If you're swing trading it, you got to use the pyramid here. Okay. All right. All depends on how you want to play that. Stuart, how are you, Stuart? MHO. All right. Okay, so let's see what you're doing here. I don't know if you're long or short, but I would say this looks to be a fairly decent long trade here. All right, we took out this equity. We're in the hit the fibs, got a pyramid here. Yeah, I think we're probably good, pretty good. I think your short-term resistance is this level here. Okay, so you may hit this, pull back a little bit, and then hopefully from there it will go on up. I mean, the weekly chart is very bullish, okay, and pretty clear. So 3, 4, A, B, C. And 5 will not be a straight shoot. It should be, you know, that something like that. So there you have it. Okay. So HMO looks pretty good. JP, how are you? All right. CGNX. CGNX. Okay. Say that 3 times, right? All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Currently looking. Okay. All right, so my only problem with this is, you know, we've had the gap and now we'll probably fill the gaps. I think I'd be a little patient on this one. You know, if you're long-term, you got a red PTF too, so that concerns me. So I'm afraid any move up is going to be a correction. Boy, look at the volume. Love the volume on that one, right? But also too, there was some profit taking here too, okay? So I'm gonna be a little bit careful on this one. Let's see if we can take a look and see here. It had a nice move down here. And where did it end? Right in this area here. Let's see if there's any context to make that in there. Not really. All right. So I'm thinking I would probably hold off on this one. All right. It's just gotten a little too far away from us, and there's possibility of a pullback, and you've got the red PTF on the weekly. Now, you've got a green PTF also on the daily. But what I would do is, well, let's wait and get some of this gap filled here and then look for some rejection, and you can take a short scalp up to the top. That could be a possibility. But I would want it to pull back. You don't have enough profit to make the PTF worthwhile at this point. All right, so big run up here. All right, nice entry at 21. Green PTFs on both time frames, pulling back a little bit. So let's kind of do a quick fib on this. Notice I didn't go all the way to the bottom. I go close to it on what maybe a wave 2. All right, so 27 to 24. And let's see, we've got order block here, a little bit here. Yeah, I would hold off and let's let this thing come back down again, okay? Is it possible it could rebound here and make another high? It's possible, but the safer bet would be to wait, okay? And if you're going to take that trade back to the upside, you have to have good rejection here. And you might be getting it now, but it also could correct down to that area here. So this is just an example of, you know, do you want to get in so late in the trend and try one more push up? Or if you identify the trend as being too late to get in, then wait for the pullback and then get in. Okay, that type of thing. All right, STM. All right, so STM pulling back here. Okay, well, we got the pullback, didn't we? All right, so now we don't have any turnaround yet. We may get it here. We've got a little bit of this support area here, structure here. So if that doesn't turn it around, then probably it's coming down into the low 20s in here. So I would not do anything with that. Okay, plus you got bearish candles on the weekly chart. You need to see a rejection and structure back up to the upside. Mr. Frank Turbin, how are you? All right, CRBP. Long, okay? Let's see what we got. All right, so there we have this one here. All right, so you're currently long on this one. Red PTF on the weekly chart. So this is probably not a new trend, but we could get up quite a bit before it comes back and makes another low. So just trade it. I guess probably, let me just see where the stop is on the daily. It's 7.9. I would probably put the stop at 6.535. And if you get stopped out, so be it. But there's also, I think, a pretty good chance you'll go up a little higher. You don't have structure here on the weekly until this area here. So that even could be a short-term top. And you're talking about a decent, 50%, over 50% return if you can get to there. So I would do that. Okay. All right. TE. All right. TE long. Okay. Green PTF. Got some structure just below the pyramid right here. All right. It will take this equity out here. It's in the process of doing that. And then you've got this situation here. This one here, we've got to be a little careful. Might have one more leg down, all right, on this. So I'd probably put my stop under this pyramid here or at the bottom of this leg, this big bar here. All right, so maybe at 0.95, okay? And then, yeah, UNG, which is the ETF for natural gas, coming down. All right, it has not taken out the bottom yet. And we did get a reversal bar at this structure here. So we're hopeful that this thing will turn back up. That's why, when you're talking about trying to work these for a bottom like this, when you see a big move up, we came right back down. Let's just see here. Right back to the order block. No real structure here other than the order block. So you got to put the basically the best place is to put your stop at the bottom, okay, on something like this. And it comes close sometimes, and it came close down to this order block here. If it goes under here, then I would say probably it's going to take out the bottom. So I would put my stop here at set 12.73. All right, if you want to go back in, okay. All right, let's see what else we got here. Alexander, good to see you, Alexander. All right, gold. Oh my goodness, yeah, we haven't looked at gold or silver for that matter. But let's take a quick look now. All right, so gold, triple top, quadruple top almost. All right, so gold is, more highs are coming. Little pullback is possible here. Notice we had the micro channel at some point over here. Let me just show you that. Micro channels usually resolve in another leg up. We got that. We're kind of getting, I think, a little toppy here. All right, so let's see if we pull back into that target. Also, too, it may pop up and make one more high before it does a significant pullback, because we still got a fairly strong owl on the weekly chart. So we're still in wave 3 on that. So I'd say definitely more highs coming. I would say this is a buy zone. If it pulls back into here, remember like crypto is a buy zone, that's a buy zone. Otherwise, you hold what you got. And that's kind of the way I would do it. Then after we pull back here, if we do, then we can draw fibs for the next target. If it keeps going up from here, then we got to redraw the fibs from here. And that will basically indicate just a different structure. Same structure, but different prices. Okay. So that's kind of where you're at there. So stay long for that, but don't be surprised if you pull back a little bit. All right. MU microns. Let's take a look at that bad boy here. All right. So it pulled back into the target. Well, this is just a great example of why, you got to be careful buying up here because it's better to wait it and buy here. All right. So now we've hit here. Green PTF, great. So it hit the buy zone. All right. It could go down into this area here where the structure was before it took off. All right. So I wouldn't be surprised about that. If you wanted to start trickling, this is a buy zone. So on a buy zone, you either got to bite the bullet and say, okay, I'm buying here, but it could go here, but that's still a buy zone. Okay. Or you could trickle in a little bit, maybe a third here in case that's all the correction we're going to get. And then maybe put another third down in here. All right. Or a half. Okay. And then wait for the rebound up and put the remaining in. All right. Or, you can just wait it out for a more concrete move to the upside from here. But I always like to get in at good prices. So, I look at this as a buy zone. So more highs are coming. We're getting over 129 and probably even better than that. But for right now, we may still be coming down a little bit. All right. And so stay long on that one. GOOGL, that's my recommendation. Unless your financial advisor tells you otherwise. All right. So let's see what we got here. All right. Google. All right. Okay, a little toppy here. You're long here. All right. So a couple things could be going on here. We got a 3, 4, 5. All right. So we have the last little hook up. If they don't break the top here, okay, on this, then we may be into something like that, okay, before it goes up. But let's just see what happened. We took equity out here. Notice how powerful that is. You take the equity out here and look what happens. You also had structure here, okay? So now it's butting up against this structure. We're getting a little bit of rejection here. We have a green PTF over here indicating we should go higher than this area here, but we could pull back to this structure here. So because of the green PTF, I'd hold it, okay? But don't be surprised to come down to 180, which isn't too terrible. All right, Eleanor, how are you? Okay, BROS. BROS. Let's see what we're cooking on there. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so when we looked at this the last week, notice that we have a pullback possible target down at 53.31. All right, just past. I imagine it will end more like in this area here, 55.34 with this structure. Okay. So we basically blew through here. That's not a good sign. Okay. There was no rejection at this fair value gap, this gray area that I drew in. Okay. So let's remove that. So if anything, now that acts as support. So that's a downtrend. Okay. Green PTF. So after this downtrend completes, we should see a move back up. All right. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. So order block here. And I have to tell you, it's amazing. You think, well, they're not going to take this out because this is the bottom, but anything is possible. All the stops are sitting there. Okay. So if they're going to run this thing up to new major highs, this would be a place they'd love to go to get everybody's stops that currently are long. They may just take this out. You may be okay, and we get a rebound off here, okay? So we'll have to wait and see, all right? But in any case, if you can weather the pullback, regardless of where it ends exactly, we should see a move up. I'm thinking right around 53.70, all right? That area here should hold, okay? All right, Amazon, AMZN. Ooh. All right, big move down here. All right, so now what are we doing? Okay, so we got a red PTF down here. We didn't break the high here. We had some rejection here. All right, we're going to have probably a little bit of stability here in this area here. The red PTF is indicating that they'll take this out here and here. Okay. I don't think I'd want to be long here. Okay. So if you've got profits, probably get out. You can always get back in, but this may be going into a decent correction here. And then we looked at POWL before. Let's take a look at this one. Should be about the same. All right, so this is Goog here. Trend line there. And I had a micro here. All right. Okay, so you had a micro channel there. You had a little rejection here, like I said before, a green PTF. Usually with a micro channel, you get another push up. Okay, so you're probably going to get one more push up in there. Okay. All right. Stu, UNH. Let's see, where is the takeout equities? All right. Let's just see. Okay. I'm thinking around 186 here. Okay, heading down there. 185.44. Okay, so what is that? I think that looks like December-ish 2020 to me. Maybe March. Hard to say. Yeah, March. Yeah, that's it. You're right. Okay, that's kind of where I think it's going. All right, good. All right, Eleanor. Okay, looks like we'll wrap it up here with Eleanor here at AMD. All right, so long. Well, good one to be long in on this one. All right, so this is the micro channel as well. We're getting a little bit of a pullback. I mean, this is what I would call the overall trend line right there. And then we have a little bit of a micro here, right? So I'm thinking more highs after we have a little consolidation here. And I would say probably we'll break this high here eventually. All right, we did not take out equity here. So probably on the next push up, we'll take this equity out here. Should have another leg. May see a little bit of a pullback after that. But you should be good on that one, okay? And that's AMD. You're long on that one. Okay, Oracle. Let's take a look at that. And same thing with Oracle. You got a micro channel here. A little consolidation. You know, it depends on how you want to work these. I mean, this has been one heck of a trend up. So you got a longer there. Got a little bit of a micro. You had the micro here. Do you see it? You already had the micro kind of. Let's see. Right in here. Where do I want to go with that? Give me a second. All right, so the micro, you had one here where you had a pullback, then you had a micro here, okay, and then a pullback. So on this, and big rejection here, and look at the rejection here, okay. So I imagine you're going to have a significant pullback, probably to 203, and maybe even as low as 176 before more highs. So I would put your stop on this pyramid here, okay, at 234.54. And then after it comes back down here, you can go back in. All right, last one, Alexander. All right, Tesla. Oh, Tesla. Take a look at old Tesla here. All right, so Tesla, you can see we've analyzed this one. All right, so Tesla, we've got structure here and major order block down there. Let's see what we got here, green PTF. So we're thinking the highs on this, well, it should be past the old time high of around 488 at some point, but the zone is 454 to 598. So we're trying to figure out on the daily chart of where this thing should pull back, should end here. And we've got some structure here. They may take this out again here, okay? But I don't think I would short it, okay? If you're going to short it, put your stop at the pyramid and take profits below this candle here, okay? And that candle low is 273.21. That's the only thing with that one. If I had a red PTF there, I'd feel a little more confident on a short. CRWD. All right, and a short on this one makes better sense because it's run up so much. Still got a lot of green on the owl here. You've got some pullback here, took out equity here, took out equity here. And let's just see. And you've got an order block there. Notice the rejection off the order block. Okay, so let's see if we have anything up here. I don't see any fair value gaps except for the one forming here. You had one here, okay, in the beginning. So I don't think I would short it here, okay? I think you're going to get a pull up, and let's take a look at it next week because that next week may be a better short, okay? In other words, I'm thinking here, it may pull up into this area here, and that might be a better short. We'll have to take a look at it at that point, okay? If you wanted to just short it off the pyramid, you got to put your stop up here. Question is, where are you going to take profits? And this is a key area of where you'd want to think about it. Let me just draw a fib here. Yeah, okay. So, you know, if you wanted to short it, do it, but put your stop here and cover at the next order block down here, okay? That would be okay, but it's not a slam dunk, okay? All right, I think that's it. Did we find any? I think we only found, I think it was the first one we looked at, POWL, P-O-W-L. I think that might have been the first one we looked at today, and that was a long one, right? So that's this one over here. So I'm kind of thinking that might be the best one for the day, okay, guys? All right, well, listen, you guys have a great one, and we'll see you back here next week, and happy August. All right, I'll put a little music on and then I'll close the room. Have a good one, and thank you, everybody. Ed, thank you. Alexander, thank you. Eleanor, Stu, everybody, thanks for being here.